So I just want to jump on here real quick. And I know the time of this recording, schools are getting out, kids are getting off for the summer, families are having their vacations planned, their summer activities, maybe camps, maybe home activities as well, entertainment, all of the fun stuff. So if you or someone you know has kids still school age, then this podcast right now would be for you. In the event that you feel called to homeschool, that is specifically who this one will be for. Because after homeschooling 7, I've learned a couple of things, not just about it, but about myself and about homeschooling in general. But with the time and the season that we're in, with kids getting out of school, public school, private school, hybrid schools, charter schools, whatever, sometimes us as parents and school age kids, we actually feel that we want to homeschool. And I've been in actually both camps of having had kids go to public school, private school, and never having gone to a school and homeschooled them. So I understand, at least on my side, on my perspective and my view of where I was in that moment. And no matter what, I always wanted to homeschool, because what I ended up doing was I had the older 3 in public school, and at the time of me pulling them out, but they were in a public school for a couple of years, and then after having the triplets, we moved and they were in school for a little bit longer so that we could settle in. So as far as their age, they were required to go to school. And so I enrolled them into the school that we were zoned for, where we moved. Did that for a little while, got my footing underneath me, and then I jumped in and I pulled them out and went homeschool all the way. And so some of them, the younger ones of the 7, they actually never went to a school. They were homeschooled the whole time. And this isn't even getting to the real meat of it today yet, but a few things about homeschooling is, I say homeschool, and maybe I'll do this on another podcast episode, but it's not school at home. It is education from home, truly. But as far as today goes, I wanted to dive into something that people that homeschool really don't think about. And they don't even really talk about it. It's almost like you don't want to talk about this part because, maybe it's taboo. Maybe you think you'll get jinxed, or I don't know, whatever. But deciding to homeschool isn't where I'm going. What I want is, if you feel called and you're going to homeschool, I'll dive into another episode on homeschooling, what I'd recommend or not, or what it is and what it isn't. But today, I want to focus on, if you're going to homeschool, no matter if you are pulling your kids out of school and you're going to start homeschooling, or if you've already been homeschooling and you haven't done this, it's time to do it. And that is join, and I'm not an affiliate, join HSLDA. Their website is hslda.org, and it is a homeschool legal defense association. And here are my top 3 reasons why. Number 1, it is for resources. You can get on their website. There's a map, which I'm very visual, so it has a map of the states. You can click on your state. It has the requirements, the age, the opt-in, just so many resources. And you don't even have to be associated or having joined them as a member to get that. Their website is there for you to be able to use those resources like that. for public use. But there are more resources that you can use whenever you're a member. And number two is probably the biggest one that people would think of is representation. So this is kind of like the 3 R's. Oh, that's funny. That is so funny. Oh my gosh, I just realized the 3 R's for HSLDA for me. Oh my goodness. And then the 3 R's of homeschool, whatever. Okay, we'll connect those dots another time. So representation would be number two for me for why to join HSLDA. And that is where people usually go to is basically some sort of lawsuit or having some sort of issue with your town or your state or any of that kind of thing. We usually automatically think that, the homeschool police are going to knock on the door and then you're going to have to show your homeschool ID and your homeschool everything, which, in some cases that is part of what they do. But there's more to representing a homeschool student or homeschool family than just checking boxes in a homeschool subject matter or whatever. They go into way more than that. So representation is number two for me. Of the 3 R's of why you need to join HSLDA. But number three is kind of a duo of ours, but it's reading. So you can read and review, getting on their email list of getting articles. They do write articles and they do send them out to their members. And you get to read and review these cases that they're defending homeschool parents and homeschool families and homeschool students. Maybe a reminder that you're not alone in this homeschool journey. Other people have issues as well. And this is how they're representing those families. And interestingly, they're not just in the States, they're global. We get a little bit tunnel vision on it being in the States only. And honestly, I don't know their history or their story on being global. But just having read so many stories and how they're representing them in the world and in their pursuit of education and freedom of education, it's just kind of inspiring. And sometimes they also will send things out for you to be able to not just read them and review them and have them in the back of your mind or thoughts, prayers, any of that kind of thing, but also if something comes up in not just your homeschool journey, but maybe you're in a conversation, you can always refer them to an article or to the website or any of that kind of thing. And, if I could give you a bonus R, can I do that? Is that even, oh my goodness, is that even part of the plan? The bonus R would be able to relax because sometimes homeschoolers, moms, you get so uptight about things that we kind of lose sight of why we're doing it. And to be able to know that you have someone, in your phone or in your email, in your pocket, just to be able to pull out your phone and call someone in case you need it is a way that you can just take that stress off of you and relax and enjoy the journey of being able to homeschool your kids and let them take care of what they do and you take care of what you need to do. So just to recap those, I recommend if you are going to homeschool or if you already are homeschooling and you have not joined HSLDA, just do it. You could do it yearly. It sounds like an ad, but this is really for you. And these are why. Number one, being the resources. You will have resources on their website to be able to, educate yourself. Number two, representation. That is what those folks do. They represent those homeschool families to keep the freedom of your homeschool educating going. And number 3, being able to read and review other people's stories and how they're represented within their community or state or country. And the bonus is probably, I would almost say this might even be not necessarily the most important, but the most felt. Um, and that is to be able to relax. And if you have HSLDA in your pocket, if you're a member, you know that they're going to do their job so that you can relax and do your job. And that is it in a nutshell. I love meeting homeschool families. I love meeting homeschool students. Um, Homeschoolers are a different breed, and it really goes back to the beginning of keeping the family together. And that is a whole nother can of worms. But homeschool family, we're all different, and we all homeschool different. Every single student is different. And just the fact that you can homeschool your own kids, if you have that calling on your heart and you can do it, go for it. And just make sure, according to Neva, I like to make sure that HSLDA is part of that homeschool toolkit. So, yeah, hslda.org is their website, and I would definitely encourage anyone that does homeschool, wants to homeschool, already does homeschool, and hasn't been a part of it, to go ahead and be a part of it. So I'll see you on the next one.